If you are watching this video, it is not by accident. It found you because you have just found out about the atrocities and corruption that go on in our government and Hollywood. You're very likely in a state of disbelief, completely outraged, and just sick to your stomach. Because genuinely, how can this be real life and how can this be the people who are in power and running our country? I felt the same way when I first found out about all of this, and this was like years ago. In this video, I'm going to explain to you why this is happening right now, how something this grotesque could even be happening, what it means for our future as a collective, how to handle your feelings around everything, and what you can do right now to actually help this situation. The majority of my research from this topic and where I kind of learned about most of this information that I'm going to share with you is going to be from this book. This is my favorite book. It's called The Synchronicity Key by David Wilcock. I will link his website in the description as well because he has lots of other free books that go in depth about this specific topic, other topics that just have to do with spirituality. He has dedicated his life to studying synchronicities, patterns, time cycles, all of that. Unfortunately, the Epstein files are literally just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to this subject. So if you want to go look into more about what it is I'm going to be talking about in this video from his studies, I encourage you to go and do that. But I am not here to convince you to believe anything or to prove to you why I'm right. I am simply channeling a message from the divine that I know the collective needs to hear. And if it resonates with you, then my job is done. If it doesn't resonate with you, then don't look at this video. Honestly, then this isn't for you. By the end of this video, my goal is to ultimately help you feel more in control, more at peace, and more hopeful for our future as a collective. I understand that it's hard for some people to fully know and understand what we're even doing on this earth. Why are we all humans stuck on earth? Why is there so much suffering? Why is there so much evil? Why is there so much pain? And the most honest and spiritual truth that I can give you is that we come here to evolve. We come here to go through traumatic, hard shit so that we can evolve as a soul and as a collective consciousness. If you do not think that we are on this earth to get better in some way, then again, this video is just not for you. But if you have the understanding that as humans, we choose to come here and experience terrible things in order to advance ourselves so that we can learn to heal from them and get better, you're in the right place, and hopefully this video will help you feel better about everything that's going on. So part one is going to be about the cosmic cycles. This is going to give you some understanding and answer the question as to why is this all happening now? If this has been going on for so many years and there's been so much corruption and there's so much crap that goes on behind closed doors, why is this all coming out right now? Why all of a sudden is everything coming out? It seems like it's one thing after the other, the Diddy things, now the Epstein files, and it seems to just keep going. Why is this happening? The answer to this is the cosmic cycles. And if you're already rolling your eyes at like, oh, astrology, then again, this video is not for you. Again, I'm not here to convince you that the people in power of our world are depraved and corrupt. You either, once you know that, you know that. And if you don't, then you can come back to this video once you realize it, because inevitably, like you'll see, and what I'm about to talk about is we're in a time period of truth. Truth is coming out. And when you find that out and realize what's going on, this will be here for you to handle dealing with knowing all of this. So first, we're going to be looking at astronomy. This has to do solely with where the planets are at in alignment and doesn't have anything to do with astrological impact on the human, experience or people in general or as a collective. So this is simply just the planets and how they move throughout the sky and what that looks like and what that means. I'm not gonna lie, this is a really hard concept to grasp. Like when I first read this in the book, I had to read it like 5 different times, and I had to like try and make a diagram and figure it out because you don't really get it from someone just saying it to you. So I'm gonna put up pictures and everything, but just stay with me because once you get it, you'll be like, oh wait, like this makes sense. So the first thing that we're going to be talking about is the precision of the equinoxes. I know you remember when we were in school, and I know you remember looking at the Earth, and the Earth has a diagonal tilt. If this is the Earth on a globe, and again, I'm going to put up a little picture to try and help you, it's tilted like this, and that's how it rotates, right? It rotates like that. Okay, so the Earth itself is rotating, and you guys know this, like this is what causes our daily days, is the Earth rotating like this. Like imagine, get rid of the pen for a minute, imagine a big globe, the Earth turns like this, okay? You know that. But it doesn't turn straight up like this, it turns at a tilt like this, okay? That tilt is this pen. So think about now a top. Like think about how when you spin a top and it's about to like be finished spinning, it kind of wobbles. Like it kind of goes like this for a little bit, okay? Right? Are you with me? I hope so. Because again, it's hard to explain without visual, but I think with the pictures I put in with this pen, it might make a little bit more sense. Okay. So the Earth wobbles on its axis the same way that a top wobbles like this when it's about to stop. So not only is the sphere itself going in a rotation, right, on this turned axis, but the axis itself, like again, imagine if that line that you see through the Earth on all those diagrams is a cylinder that's this pen. It itself is going like this. But it does this so freaking slowly because of that wobble. The point right here, the point where the sun rises on the spring equinox changes throughout the years. It slowly moves backwards through the zodiacs. And when I say zodiac, I don't mean like, oh, just the signs. They call them star signs for a reason. It's because, and again, I'll put up a picture here, in the sky, in our galaxy, there is all the constellations, and those are all named after the signs of the zodiac: Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces, etc. Okay? So this little pen that's supposed to be the Earth's wobble so slowly is going like this, and it changes where we are in the zodiac, and it goes backwards. So instead of following the regular 12 zodiac from, starting with Aries going to the end, it goes backwards. One full wobble is going to be 25,920 years. Each one is 25,920 years. I told you, it is going so slowly. Like, it is so tiny of a little turn. But again, if you can look it up, and it's verified by astronomers, not astrologers. I mean, they verify it too, but like the scientists, astronomers verify this is a thing that happens. The point of where the sun rises on the spring equinox continues to move throughout this 25,920 year cycle. Okay? Stay with me. That full cycle is often called the Great Year. Now, if you divide that number, 25,920, by 12, which is how many signs of the zodiac that there are, you get 2,160. So each 2,160 years is one age of a different zodiac that we have moved through with this point, okay? If you've ever heard like the age of Pisces, the age of Aquarius, the age of Aries, whatever it might be, if you've ever heard that term like age of, and then it's the zodiac sign, this is what they're referring to. Now that you understand how the astronomy of this works, and that this is a real legitimate thing that happens to our planet in our solar system that, again, scientists themselves verify, we're going to look at now the astrological side of it and how it impacts humans as a collective and individually. Each zodiac represents a certain time period, lesson, energy, pattern, or time period. So there's the age of Aries, which was the years 2000 BCE to 1 CE. The themes of Aries is conquest, war, empires, dominance, and might makes right. Aries is, again, that sign of war, okay? What was going on in human history throughout this time? This lines up with Roman expansion, warrior cultures, blood sacrifice, and survival through force. That's the age of Aries. That was a string of 2,160 years where we were in a time of war, a time of conquest, and that is all of the history that you learned when you learned in world history, okay? And you can see it throughout our history. If you just took a history class, we were in a time of war and conquest, right? So that makes sense, okay? Now, fast forward after the year of Aries ended and it moved into the following zodiac, which in this case would be Pisces because it's going backwards, not forwards. Going now into the age of Pisces, this is going to be from the years 1 CE to 2000 plus CE. So the themes of Pisces are belief, faith, saviors, secrecy, illusion, sacrifice, and if you're going to put it in a quote, trust the authority. And you can see that, again, throughout our history, what all was going on in human history during this age of Pisces. Pisces symbol is the fish, and if you're Christian, you know, like Jesus' symbol is the fish. So this was a time period where Christianity was very prominent and still is very prominent. And Christians believe you get salvation through belief, through faith, right? So that lines up with Pisces. Any form of truth, specifically spiritual truth, was mediated through a priest, a church, kings, or institutions. And again, this all lines up with just human history. This is what has been going on this entire age of Pisces. And you can see that, like, back again, if you took fucking history, I really hope you did. Like, you remember England when, it was the first time that church and state were together. Pisces energy is not evil. There's nothing like inherently bad about it, but it does allow for secrets, martyrs, hidden hierarchy, and suffering behind closed doors. We, as a collective, right now in the year that we're in, are currently transitioning from Pisces, the age of Pisces, into the age of Aquarius. Okay. So we're going right now, we're literally in the middle of the transition from one to another. And so now I'm going to explain to you what he symbolizes and how it lines up with things that are going on. And you're going to see it and you're going to be like, oh my God, wait, this makes sense. Aquarius is an air sign. And so it's very much about clarity, visibility, transmission, core themes, truth, revelation, exposure, technology, decentralization, networks, collective consciousness, and breaking hierarchies. Aquarius is not a sign that can keep secrets, whereas Pisces, things can stay hidden. Aquarius is the complete opposite. Nothing can stay hidden anymore. Everything has to come out during this age. That is why we are seeing files being leaked, whistleblowers coming out, the internet exposing what institutions have hid, AI, and power structures start to destabilize. Like I said, we are still in the current phase of transitioning. So that is why we, people like from my generation, have seen both sides. And we see a lot of people who have a strong faith or belief. We see people having had to make a lot of sacrifices. Like, if you think about it, guys, like, think about, like, not even necessarily your parents' generation, but like the past generation. Like, they were all, for the most part, like, America was very, I think, majority Christian, right? Everybody has a strong faith in Christianity, the fish, Jesus, okay? 2, everybody went through a phase of like sacrifice. These young boys, for like almost every set of boys from like that generation and up, had to go to war, and they were sacrificing themselves for their country, right? For this bigger system, this bigger, hierarchy, thinking they're doing the right thing because it's all an illusion, because of the belief and faith that it was the right thing to do and that this institution will take care of them when the time comes. When they need Social Security, the government will be there because, they fought for this country. They believe in this country. This is the best country in the world, everything that they thought. And now, as you can see with what has been happening, those illusions are starting to fall away. Our generation is starting to realize, yeah, this doesn't work. Working and sacrificing our lives isn't going to help us in the long run because, our government is corrupt. The systems we're working for are corrupt. All of this is fake. This answers the question of why is all of this stuff coming out now? If you look at the way that our planets are and the way that things have been throughout human history, this is why we're in the age where everything is coming out. The end of the age of Aquarius, none of us are going to be here for because it's a 2,160 year long cycle. So we will not be here for the age of Capricorn. We are witnessing the transition from one age to another, which honestly is a pretty big thing because not everybody sees that, right? But with that comes a lot of chaos, a lot of confusion, a lot of turmoil, a lot of not knowing what to do with yourself because you're like, especially from the 2 zodiacs that we moved from. We moved from Pisces to where everything was about faith, everything was about trust, everything was about, systems and institutions and, everything's great and dandy. And now we're literally watching all of it crumble and fall apart. That is a very, very difficult place to be. Following the age of Aquarius would be moving into the age of Capricorn. Capricorn signifies structure, law, authority, responsibility, karmic reckoning, and long-term consequences. None of us are going to be around for the full unfolding of everything that has been going on. And the things that you're seeing in the media right now and in the files that have been released is nothing new. These illusions and these hierarchies have been going on for 2,160 years. This is nothing new. And unfortunately, we will not be here to see all of it come around full circle into whatever it is. But the reason that I'm explaining this right now is so that you feel a little bit better knowing what the future holds, okay? Because again, if we're looking at what has been going on, what went on in the past, how accurate is this zodiac, you know what I'm saying, that we can look at and see. And so far, it's been pretty accurate, right? What might it look like in the future? If we're still going off of, okay, this lines up with the zodiac right now, what will it look like if it lines up with the zodiac in the future? This is what we're looking at. So the age of Capricorn seems like it's going to be the age when we get a new structure in place where we get better authority, more structure, more responsibility as a collective, and karmic reckoning. There's certain things that happen at certain times and they are divinely done that way. And this is one of those things. There was a lot of evil going on, a lot of systems, a lot of terrible things happening. And in the age of Capricorn, the people who did that are going to get their reckoning. The entire point of explaining the great year and the cycles that we go through and the different ages that we pass through is so that you can see the bigger scheme in things, which is that every time one of these years has been completed, I want you to think about it as like a school year, like if that makes sense. Like not K, I guess, first grade to 12th grade, okay? And each side of the zodiac is a different grade. Each age, we move up to the next lesson that we need to learn. And by 12, when we've gone full circle and completed the full 25,920 years, we all evolve and we become better than we were before. And we needed every single one of those 12 ages and each lesson that came with it to get to the evolution point that we will reach, okay? And if you look back, again, at human history, roughly 25,920 years ago was when Neanderthals had died off. And Homo sapiens were the main and essentially only intelligent life left on the planet, okay? And again, I say intelligent life lightly, but you know what I mean? Like, if you go back even further than that, about 50,000 years ago was when humans first started to use tools. So every single time one of these, you could say again, like grade schools, grade years, whatever, great year completes, we evolve, we become smarter, we start to work better, okay? We elevate, right? So now you can understand the why this is happening right now. Let's try to understand how could this even happen in the first place? Because things in those files are absolutely inconceivable. Like, how could that ever be true? How? To answer that question, you need to be able to understand a sociopath. Most people want to believe that the majority of people around us are good people, that our government and our systems are fair for the most part, and that there's only a small amount of greed and corruption, and that amount of greed and corruption within those systems is nowhere close to outweighing the good people that are in those systems. Now to find out that it's almost everyone in power and in fame that are completely corrupt and depraved is really, really hard to accept for most people. When I first found out about this, I genuinely could not understand, one, how a single human being could be so fucking evil. And again, like the only word is like depraved. Like they are just depraved. Like I couldn't understand how one person could be that bad, let alone so many people, let alone these people that I have like seen in movies and seen and listened to their songs and seen on TV, and you know, people who I thought were leading our country and doing good things for us. Like that is such a hard thing to grasp because what the fuck? Like that's crazy, right? I just absolutely could not fathom how this could happen until I learned about how sociopaths work from a psychological and an energetic standpoint. So that's what I'm going to share with you to help you try and grasp how this is possible and how this could be what we're actually experiencing right now. About 1% of people in our world are sociopaths. And I think it's kind of funny, not funny, but it's just ironic that, again, about 1% of people in the world are sociopaths. And what do we call the people who make it big, are super famous, have lots of money, have lots of power? We call them the 1%. As someone who isn't a sociopath, it's very, very hard to conceive and understand that there's people who can think, act, and live the way that they do, the way that these people that you're seeing in the files do. It's very hard to believe that that's even possible. And some people are just in denial about it because, again, no one wants to try to grasp how evil it can get. David Wilcock states that breaking through that denial is a very important step in our healing on a collective level. If you cannot accept that there's people this evil in the world that operate this way, we will never be okay, because those people will be the ones that remain doing the fucked up things that they do. And it's way easier to do fucked up, disgusting things like this when everyone in the world is turning a blind eye because they're like, oh, that could never be true. It could be, and it is, and you're finding out now firsthand. First, you need to understand that there are 3 paths that you can take as a soul, okay? When you come here to Earth, there's 3 paths that your soul can end up going on. The first one is the positive path, or the path to serving others. Wilcock says that on this path, learn how to generate love from within ourselves by our attitude. And this process is healing, rejuvenating, and renewing in all aspects of life. Second path is going to be the negative path, the path to self-service, or the path of control. On this path, your primary focus is absorbing others' energies. The third path is denial that either of these two exist, and you end up just not, if you don't choose one or the other, you just keep repeating the same loops over and over again. You keep repeating the same lessons without any actual advancement or improvement. Right now, I'm going to be talking about the negative path. So sociopaths are the negative path, okay? These are the people who choose the path to self-service or the path to control. A majority of where David Wilcock gets his information for the book of which I'm referring to is a series of, I think they were tapes, called the Law of One series. And again, super cool, and you should dig into it because it's just really, really amazing. But it was essentially where a group of people channeled, they would do hypnotherapy, and they would channel these different messages from, I don't remember what they were called, but from a collective consciousness that was, high vibrational and just way smarter than us. And they were giving us some help as to all right, y'all, this is what's going on. This is what you do. So this is a quote from that series. Some love the light, some love the darkness. This goes back to the law of duality, which simply means that Earth is a dual realm. That means that you always have one side and its counterpart. The way that we have night and day, the way that we have the sun and the moon, the way that we have yin and yang, everything, and you could also call this law of gender, everything has masculine or feminine energy. With this duality comes good and bad. You cannot have good without having bad, and you cannot have bad without having good. For all the most loving, wonderful, pure-hearted people in the world, there is going to be a handful of people who are disgusting and evil and bad. To the same extent that people can be good, there's going to be people that can be very bad. And there's some very, very good people on this earth. So of course, there's very, very bad people here as well. People in this category have completely turned off their empathy for other people. And they genuinely don't think that they're doing anything wrong. They don't feel any remorse for what they do. And if anything, they look at people who have a conscience and are bound by conscience as less than. They look at them and they laugh because they're like, oh, these idiots, they're still playing by these stupid rules. I don't care what I do to people, so I'm going to get up. I'm going to get powerful. I'm going to get, rich, famous, whatever. Many of them are charming, and I know that you've heard this before with serial killers like Ted Bundy. Many of them are charming, charismatic, manipulative, and they can fake very, very well, fake having affection, having care. They can get pity from other people because, again, they can see emotions. It's not that they don't see how people have emotions. They see it very easily, but they themselves do not feel them. And they just see it as a tool to control other people because they're like, oh, if I act this way, they'll feel this way for me. They're weak, they'll feel this way for me, and I will get what I want from them. It's very important that you understand any human being is capable of having these sociopathic tendencies, these I'm going to get up and, I'm going to put these people down, but I'm still 100% good and pure. That's a very, it can happen to anybody. Everyone is on a spectrum, and just because someone has certain sociopathic tendencies does not mean that they are inherently evil. However, if it does not get unchecked, then it could very well turn into that. Even more so, with this statement, if any old human can tend to have sociopathic tendencies, okay, in the right conditions, then imagine now that this is a regular person, but they're put into a position like, a political position where there's lots of pressure. There's people above them. They're being told, you need to do this, you need to do that. And then on top of that, they are now getting things that they have never had before. They're getting wealth, they're getting power. And we're going to talk about power in a second. It is very, very easy for a regular old person to become very sociopathic in their nature. People who acquire a significant amount of wealth or power can easily develop sociopathic tendencies, particularly if they didn't already have a strong, loving basis to begin with. Wealth and power will always amplify who you already are. If you are a bad person and you get wealthy and you get powerful, you will become a worse person. If you are a good person and you get wealthy and you get powerful, you will become a better person and have a better influence on the people around you. It's very simple. Wilcock refers to this power as a drug, especially to sociopaths, and we're about to go into the energetics of why. He says, think about what power does to the body and psyche. It creates a rush, a high. But on the negative path, power becomes more than ego. It becomes a substitute for inner connection. If you are disconnected from conscience, from empathy, from God or source or, the universe, whatever you like to call it, you will eventually feel empty. And that emptiness turns into hunger. And hunger turns into escalation. This is why you see the pattern. And a very simple, smaller scale way to put this is like porn. Think about porn. Think about how addictive it is in nature. Think about how it creates certain chemicals in your brain to where when you watch it over and over again, each time you need more and more intensity, more grotesqueness, more, what's the word? Gore, I don't know, aggression. You need more intensity for it to do something because it's addictive by nature and it literally fucks with your brain with the chemicals it produces each time. It is the same way with power. It has to get more and more grotesque and perverted and disgusting the further on this path that you are. It just keeps escalating because this hole inside of these sociopathic people cannot be filled. So not only are these people, again, power hungry, they are power hungry in a way that it has to go to the most evil and depraved degree for them to feel something, because there's already been so much power, so much wealth, so much control that they've already had, and they need more and more and more. This is why they target innocents. This is why they target children. The reason that this is really hard to talk about, honestly, from an energetic standpoint, innocence carries life force energy. And again, remember that if you are not on a negative path, if you're on a positive path, you get life force energy from the love you give to yourself and the love you give to others and get from others. These people do not have that. They have no life force energy. And humans, energetically, we need life force energy. You need it. You need it to survive, or you will be, again, empty, disgusting. Darkness doesn't just want pleasure. It wants inversion. It wants to corrupt what is pure because that is how it proves its dominance to itself. It's not only cruelty, it's ritualized control. And that is why all these people were on this fucking island, and all these celebrities, and all these, big money, politicians and all of these, big corporate people were there because they got to the point, they got so high up that nothing else is doing it for them anymore. So they need to take what is literally the most sacred and most pure and what should be the most protected, and they had to go and abuse that. Because again, that is the degree that these people get because they are so fucking far off the deep end. Now, I want to talk about absorbing energy. When people say that they feed on energy, they genuinely do. Like, these people are literal vampires. Vampires are real. And not even just energy vampires are real. Real life vampires are real. Not, a symbolic thing, not a representation, not, a metaphor. Literal vampires that do what vampires do and consume what vampires consume. It gives them a temporary sense of aliveness. And again, something that they don't feel on their own because they're so far into what they're into. This is why the Epstein files are a thing. This is why it is possible for such atrocities to have been going on, and even more so, why the people who were doing it are all the people who are in power. It literally makes plenty of sense. Moving on to part 3. The question that I'm going to be answering here, or I guess a statement I'm making here, is why you shouldn't be scared and why they should be. It is very, very important to note this video does end on a hopeful note, and there is a hopeful message to be given despite the disgusting things that everybody is having to find out about right now. And it is this. And again, this comes from Dr. Wilcox's book, and it also comes from The Law of One. So I, again, implore you for the 3rd time to go look into it. An entity or a soul can only go so far on this negative path before it ultimately has to come back to love. At some point, it can only get, and again, I don't want to get too deep into this because it might be confusing, but essentially there's 7 densities of consciousness, okay? And people cannot get past the 4th density of consciousness until choosing to be on the positive path and choosing to be loving and choosing to, be forgiving and accepting and reintegrate with love. So you can't get to 5th density without doing that. If they do not, they will completely disintegrate into pure energy and cease to exist in a process called spiritual entropy. And this is the hope that you should hold on to and the light that you have to turn to despite seeing the disgusting, horrible things that you've seen. 1, the good news is these people cannot continue to do harm forever. At the end of the day, everything comes back to love. The second truth and the second thing that, again, gives me peace in despite knowing the disgusting things that I know about our world and what's going on right now is the law of karma. And we're going to talk about that here in a second. The law of karma is a real thing. It is one of the 12 Hermetic principles, is a real thing. It is one of the 12 laws of the universe, okay? And these laws of the universe never change. Nothing can impede these laws. There is no if, ands, or buts. They are absolute. And karma is one of those things. For every action, thought, intention that is put out into the world, it will always come back to that individual soul equally and fairly. And I know that the main question right now and the main thing being said right now is, we are not angry enough. How are these people not in jail? And I understand, and I'm with you. I wish more than fucking anything, honestly, more than that. I wish that they were more than in jail. But again, there's some things that are out of our control and it sucks, but this is something that is supposed to make you feel better and rest easy knowing that you cannot commit the amount of evil and grotesque acts, especially towards children, that these people have committed without it coming back on you. And it will come back on these people. The first step, though, to this energetic justice being taken is that it has to all come out to the light. They can't be karmically, reciprocated for what they've done on the scale that they've done it without it coming out to light. People need to know what has been happening and what's been going on. People are outraged that they're not in jail. And again, I'm one of those people. You don't understand, I found all of this out years ago. So it's like, I've already gone through the process of what you're going through right now, the rage that you're feeling and the hatred and it's literally not even, you're not able to put into words how angry you are that this could possibly be a real thing, let alone our real life, let alone our government, let alone that so much pain has been inflicted, let alone on children. Like, I understand what you're feeling because I have gone through this myself. But the thing is, there is another side to this, and karma is coming for these people. And I want that to give you some sense of peace and hope and justice. The point of all of this darkness coming to light is not to obsess over it, okay? It's not to go and read every single disgusting thing that they did in the Epstein files. The truth is, once you've read one or two things, or like, at most a page, you've seen enough. You do not need to keep going and searching and seeing even more so, what were they doing and how, like, you don't need to. You already know it's disgusting, it's depraved, and it's the people in power. That's really all you need to know. You don't need to go obsessing over the atrocities of what these people have done. The point isn't to obsess over this darkness. The point is to become the kind of human that it can no longer feed on, because you understand how the system operates. And the thing is, these people do too. These people know exactly how all of this works. And that's a whole different video. And again, just tip of the iceberg for all the ways that these sociopaths understand these energetic principles and why they do things that they do. Okay? And why they put certain things in place. Everyone thinks like nothing is random, especially nothing in politics is random. It is all purposeful, intentional, to keep them in power and continue to do what they want to do for as long as they can, because they know ultimately it will end. They know that they are fucked, okay? They know they're screwed. And you can see this and you can take this if if it resonates or not. But I was reading the book of Revelation. And again, this isn't to say this to scare anybody or be like, oh, it's the end times and Jesus is coming back and we're all gonna die. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm just saying, again, this is an age of things coming out, an age of truth coming out, an age of, whatever's happening to, whatever's been happening to come to light. Revelation 6:15-16 says, "Then the kings of the earth, the princes, the generals, the rich, the mighty, and everyone else hid in caves among the rocks of the mountains. They called to the mountains and the rocks, 'Fall on us and hide us from the face of him who sits on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of their wrath has come, and who can stand?'" I want y'all to remember how many rich people right now have started making underground tunnels, have started making bunkers, are looking at going to the moon. They're trying to run away because they know the jig is up and their shit is coming out. These people are in for inevitable defeat, and that should make them scared. And it should make you feel much better. And it should 100% make you feel like you have no need to be fearful about this, because you don't. All right, guys. Part 4 is what to do now. What do you do with all this information that you have now? Because again, once you've been exposed to something like this and you've been awakened by something like this, you can never go back. And it sucks because it's it's an experience and everyone experiences it at some point. What can you do as an individual to actually help something? Because if you're saying oh, Isabella, well, you're saying that their karma is coming for them, but what about they're still in power and they're still making decisions for us and they're still making moves and we need justice, we need to do something. I hear you. And there is something that you can do. And I'm going to tell you exactly what it is. The first thing is alchemy is what starves the system. These people cannot feed off your energy if you know how to work with your energy and protect your own energy. If the negative path thrives on fear and separation, then the antidote is coherence, truth, community, and nervous system regulation. When you feel this rage or panic or anxiety about what's going to happen for our future, okay, understand that this is normal. It is so normal that you're feeling this way. Literally, what human with a conscience and a soul would not? But the main thing is do not let it become your main frequency, okay? They already have us fucking nerfed with every device that we have in our house, especially our phones. And especially how much we doom scroll, we are constantly opening ourselves up to seeing bad news and feeling some kind of awful way about it, getting enraged, getting mad, getting how could this happen? Getting all riled up about these things, okay? And again, you're allowed to be mad. You are 100% allowed to be mad. And again, everyone's saying we're not angry enough. Like, again, you are allowed to be angry and you should be angry, but that shouldn't be your way to fix things, because I'm telling you right now, it's not fixing anything. You being angry will not change what is happening, what has happened, and what will happen, and how these people are in power and will stay in power. What you can do, though, is alchemize that anger into something that can, okay? That can actually make a difference here. It is not your job to carry this darkness in your body, to carry these negative thoughts and emotions around everything that's going on. That is not your job. And again, you can fight me on this and say, well, you're being ignorant, you're reading this. That's fine. Again, this is for the people who need to hear it, and this is for the people it's going to help. You don't need to carry that in your body. You do not need to go looking through every single file on the fucking Epstein files and look more and more every day into the disgusting things that have been done. Like I said, once you've read 1 to 2 lines of it, you know the most of how bad it gets. And you don't need to go into detail and fuck up your mind with the things that are in there. There is going to be people who try and tell you you're a bad person if you don't look at the news. There's going to be people who try and convince you that they are morally superior to you and that, how dare you not be involved with what's going on right now if you're not in a constant state of disarray and upset and rage. Let me ask you something. What good is it going to do you to be in a constant state of rage and upset and upheaval? What good is that doing anybody? What good is it doing you? What good is it doing your family? What good is it doing your friends? I'm not saying that you're not allowed to be angry. I am angry. I'm so angry that this is still going on and that it has taken this long for it to finally come out. But I'm at peace. I'm at peace because I know I am taking care of my energy. I am grounding my nervous system every day. I'm not purposefully over-consuming negative, disgusting, awful news that's going to make me feel terrible. And I'm keeping my vibration high. And I'm doing everything in my power to combat these systems in the small ways that I can. Okay? I quit my 9 to 5 to do content creation and to coach girls on fixing their hormones and getting back to their cycle, getting back to their bodies. Okay? Because I truly feel that is my purpose on this earth, is to guide women back to their natural cycle so that they can be their most empowered, expansive, expressive selves. Okay? And again, I'm embodying that myself. That is my way of fighting back, because that is going to do more. Me sitting here making this video for you, me working with girls one-on-one, teaching them to stop having weak boundaries, teaching them to start taking care of their bodies and stop eating the crap that these fucking people are feeding us, and teaching them to start loving themselves so they can then go be more loving for other people and be confident in themselves so they can express what they need to do and go fulfill their purpose on this earth as a soul. That is my way of fighting back. And I promise you that's doing a hell of a lot more than sitting here being mad. That is what you need to do. You need to start raising your own vibration, taking care of your own energy, grounding your own nervous system, and just live a better life for yourself. It's hard when there's lots of things going on, but let me tell you, like I said, babe, this is just fucking exhibit A, okay? There's a lot more coming. And I don't say this to scare you or be like, it's the end of the world, but this is a time where truth is coming out. And there's a lot more than just the Epstein files. The first thing is to feel the feelings you need to feel, cry, yell, scream, get out your anger, get out your rage, get out your sadness, get out your sorrow. It is okay to feel what you're feeling for these poor children, for the disgusting people who have done what they've done to them. All right, that's okay. But then after, ground yourself, okay? Ground your nervous system. Take care of yourself as well. Actionable step that you can do after you see this video, and from now on, this is what I want you to do every single time you see something about the files, you see another new piece of, terrible, disgusting news that, oh, surprise, surprise, look what's been going on, all right? I want you to, again, let yourself feel it, cry, be angry, yell, scream, whatever you need to feel, and then ground yourself. Take 4 box breaths, breathe in for 4 seconds, hold it for 4 seconds, let it go for 4 seconds. Do that 4 times, 5 times. Let your parasympathetic nervous system come in, okay? Relax your body. Give yourself a big hug. Like literally, I want you to wrap your arms around yourself, okay? Embrace yourself and say to yourself out loud, okay? This is a part of a divine process. And if you believe in God, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is not out of God's control. I want you to say to yourself, I'm safe. Okay? If you have children and you're worried about your children, my children are safe. Love always wins. Evil will never, ever prevail. It never will. It literally cannot. Like, it just can't. So I want you to say those things to yourself every single time you see something about the files, every single time you see something horrible, anytime you see any kind of bad news, honestly, because again, there's bad news left and right. That is what you need to do. And that is the first thing that you can do to start helping with all the fuck shit that's going on right now. The second thing, and this is like the most important thing, if you are so angry that the things that happened to these kids happened, then you need to prove it right now by actually listening to what I'm about to say. You need to start seeing through the illusion of separation. You need to stop believing that there's a left side and a right side. You need to stop believing that conservatives are racist, hateful, violent, gun people, and that liberals are, stupid and brainwashed and I don't know, whatever the fuck else like people have to say about liberals, like sensitive, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you need to stop thinking that that is true on whichever side you fall. If you still categorize yourself as a liberal or a conservative and you feel strong in that, you feel so proud about, I'm a liberal, I'm left, I'm conservative, I'm right. You are wrong. You are fucking wrong, and you're part of the problem. Start seeing every single American and every single human as a human, as a person, and stop paying attention to what they want you to pay attention to. For example, the stuff that's going on with ICE right now, okay? And this is in no way me saying I support ICE and I'm for what they're doing. Absolutely fucking not, okay? But I want to just make you aware. Not only did all these fucking files come out about all the evil shit that these people have done, then these people, it's like laughable because again, that's how fucking stupid they think we are and how stupid we are being. They all get together at the Grammys, right? And we're all sitting there like fucking idiots, like watching it, like, oh, look who won a Grammy. Oh, look at them dancing. Like, as if you didn't just find out what you just found out about a majority of them there. And then they come up there and they start talking about fuck ICE, saying what they have to say about ICE and everything that's going on. And you're sitting there thinking like, oh, like I knew that they were good. I knew that was a good celebrity. I knew that they're on my side. I knew that, they have a conscience and they have morals and this and that. And not a single one of those fucking people said a thing about how a majority of everyone in that room was part of the people hurting and trafficking children. Do you not see how that makes no fucking sense? Do you not see how they want you to look over here so you don't see what's going on over here? Like, guys, come on. For a minute, I want you to stop and I want you to ask yourself, if you consider yourself conservative or, liberal, I want you to consider what made you say that in the first place? What made you identify with that in the first place? What was it that the moment that you decided, I identify with this is me. This is a reflection of me. I am a conservative. Was it when Trump became president? And again, go back. What made you question that? What made you think, well, oh, he's a great president. He's done great things for America and all this stuff. Again, who told you that? Fox News? Like where did this narrative come from? And it goes the same for the other side. Like, if you're a liberal and you're, like left and you think like you're so proud of being left, what made you say, I'm a liberal? And that makes you feel good about yourself and morally superior to any other person because you're a liberal. Like, what makes you feel like, oh, being liberal is the right thing? And this was the moment that I decided this is me. When you saw these videos of police brutality and you said, oh, well, I don't want to identify with that. So like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a liberal. Where did that come from? What news source was putting in this story of the police brutality? Did you go and look into the other side of it? Did you go and try to have a neutral perspective on, okay, well, what was the situation? Did you genuinely ask yourself, did you ever actually go and look at both sources of the news and try to come to a conclusion yourself? Or did it make you so angry or so upset or so whatever, so emotional that you decided right then and there, I identify with this because I could never ever do that because I feel a very strong emotion towards that narrative? Because that's exactly what they want you to do. That's exactly how everybody is at where they're at right now. Nobody ever actually looks at, why do I believe this? Why do I identify with this? It's, I feel an emotional response to the story being told to me, and I don't want to be the bad person. I don't want to be the heartless person. I don't want to be the person allowing evil. So I identify with this. Okay? They fucking got you, bitch. They got you. They got the conservatives. They got everybody. All right? It's all an illusion. It's all fake. Genuinely, who told you to start putting these people in these boxes and seeing the other side as the enemy? I want you, again, if you're liberal, genuinely, can you tell me you've never met a conservative who is not a straight up fucking racist piece of shit? You're telling me you've never met a conservative who is a kind, loving person and who wants the best for themselves and wants the best for other people and cares about other people? You're telling me you've never met a conservative like that. And for conservatives, you have never, ever met a liberal who genuinely just wants the best for other people, who wants people to be free, who wants people to have their rights. You all want the same fucking thing. That's the biggest and the funniest part about all of this. And again, these fucking people in power who you're so mad at are sitting and laughing at us. They're literally eating popcorn like fucking Squid Games and laughing at us because we look so fucking stupid. Conservatives, they really, really care about their freedom. They really care about the right to fight back against a tyrannical government, okay? And so they want gun laws, okay? They want guns. They want to be able to own guns so that they can fight back if their government gets fucking corrupt, all right? Liberals, they care very strongly about people's civil rights, people's social rights, people feeling like they're all equal in the social capacity, okay? That's why they're the ones who go and protest. That's why they're the ones who go, and when things like this happen, they get very angry so that, raids happen and all these different things happen because it's like they're so mad because how could, this injustice be so unjust? At the end of, and again, each side is convinced the other one is a fucking idiot for thinking that way because how could they ever want to protest? How could they ever want guns when guns kill people? You both want freedom. You both care so strongly for freedom, you're going to go to the greatest extent to fight for it. And you can't, but again, you're so media brainwashed that you really think the person who is in the same on the same level as you, a human just like you, who has a family, who is loving and kind just like you, is the enemy versus the people who are literal sociopaths harming children. That's how brainwashed you fucking people are. And so if you want to do something about how bad the world is at and how these terrible people are in power, take a fucking minute and unbrainwash yourself. It's really not that hard. Let's go back, okay, to the Squid Games analogy, or actually even better this, okay? Let's say we're all little pigs. There's 100 pigs in the pen, and there's 10 people up at the top, right? And they're looking down at us and they're watching us. And they've made some of us blue and they've made some of us red, and we're all in there together. They've gone through this series of conditioning so that the red pigs hate the blue pigs and the blue pigs absolutely hate the red pigs. They can't stand them, right? And so they put them all together and they watch them fight. These stupid idiot pigs, they're all pigs and they're all just sitting there fighting each other because we told them one of them's bad, one of them's this, that. And they're placing bets. Again, they're having fun. They're taking pleasure in this. They're placing bets on who's going to win. You know what I'm saying? Which pig is going to win? Which one's going to kill the other one first? This is going to be great, right? What happens if all the pigs stop fighting each other and just there's peace, there's calm, all right? There's nothing going on in the playpen. They're all just sitting there coexisting harmoniously. One, it's boring now for the people in power. It's not fun because they can't control us. They can't vote us. They can't make us do what, they want us to do. And that's that. There's no more fun, there's no more pleasure. You're taking away the power that these people have over you when you stop fighting each other, right? Now let me take it even further, okay? Imagine there is 100 pigs in a pen, and they all are not only no longer fighting, but now they're talking to each other, they're communicating, and they're deciding, let's work together. Let's, all get out of the pen at the same time. And we're going to charge these 10 people. There's only 10 of them. There's 100 of us. We have them outnumbered. Like, we can do this. And they do that. And all the pigs escape the pig pen. They stampede the 10 people. They eat the 10 people fuck because they're pigs. Like, that's what they do, right? Not saying that y'all are pigs, but you get what I fucking mean, right? I hope that this actually puts something into perspective of your brain of what is going on in America right now. The more that you divide yourselves, and the more that you see any other American, any other person as us and them, we are fucked and they are winning, and you are a reason for it, because you cannot get out of your ego and truly think for yourself for a minute. People can have a different opinion than me on something and not be a terrible person. People can have been conditioned to think a certain way and identify with a certain thing because they think that is right, because that's what they were told is right. Same way that what you were told that you think is right. Nobody is wrong, all right? We are all being controlled. We're all misinformed. We're all sheep. We're all stupid, okay? The only way that you can be truly wrong, truly hateful, truly racist, truly evil, truly whatever the fuck kind of words y'all like to throw at each other back and forth about, what you are, is if you cannot stop and try and see the human next to you as a human. Then you are all those things. And you are also single-handedly helping and feeding the people in power who do the disgusting things to children that you're so mad about. Sorry, guys, I got a little heated there because it's frustrating. Again, and I'm someone who's seen this for a long time. And every time I say this, when someone's like, well, what do you think about this? Are you left or right? I tell them the same thing. I really hope every time you see now something in the news, instead of starting to get into a big kerfuffle about it and a big, oh my God, like how could this be? And it's the conservatives and it's the liberals and this and that. Just fucking shut up and use critical thinking skills and ask yourself, what is this trying to make me feel? What reaction is this trying to get from me right now? And look at the rhetoric. Look at why is it going to make you feel that way? And how true is this? And if it's a story that you're like, damn, like how could this happen? Go look into the other side of it. Try your best. But honestly, bitch, it's all corrupt. It's like literally all corrupt. Like I said, the best thing you can do is stop playing in to this fucking game of pigs and start getting along with all the other pigs around you. Because with the way that things are moving, and with the age of Aquarius coming in and all these illusions being exposed, we will not survive. We will not survive if you cannot learn to get along with your fucking neighbor who's yeehaw, loves guns, country bumpkin, and if you can't get along with your fucking blue-haired, septum-pierced, trans neighbor, you're fucked. We're all fucked because we're all fucking people, and we're all the same people they're controlling. So, you make yourself uncontrollable, you're helping. All right, y'all, I'm really glad this video is over. This took a lot of energy from me. God fuck. All right. The last part to this entire thing is understand this is not the end of the world. I know it's scary. I know it's terrifying, right? Especially if you have children, but this is not the end of the world. This is the beginning of us moving to a better world. Even though it doesn't feel like it, even though you're finding out all these horrible things that have been going on, like I said, this stuff has been going on for 2,160 years and some, like even more than that, even before that. And I'm saying that there was tons of war. There's always been suffering, right? And again, we're finally getting to a time period where some of that is coming out, and we're moving into a place where some of that can start to be corrected and things get better. This is not to freak you out. This is not to make you think that we're doomed. This is truly just for you to start to question what you know. Because again, in a time period where all the illusions that you've been under are coming out, you are going to feel so distraught because you don't know who you are, what you believe, what is true, and the only thing that you can turn to find true truth is yourself. You need to turn inward, and you need to turn to God, to source, to divine, whatever you call it, right? That is the only way you will make it through this. Stop looking at the fucking news. Stop turning to ChatGPT to answer your questions. Like, stop looking for outside sources of validation of what is right and what is wrong. Go inside and ask yourself, what is right? What is wrong? What illusions are there? What systems are there? What do I believe? Why do I believe this? That's the only way that you're going to be okay. Once we all understand the truth, we are all aware. Once we are all aware, we are so powerful, so much more powerful than you could even imagine, let alone when we combine that. Things will start to change when you decide to change. You can control the way you think. You can control how much media you consume. You can control the way that you judge people based off of a news story you see. And all of those things create your reality. Okay, what you think, what you feel creates your reality. If you start to change what you think and what you feel to be more positive and not so negative and terrible and horrible and chaotic, your life will get better. And that will make other people around you's lives better. And if you start imploring them to do the same, it's like a domino effect, okay? Things will start to change and things will get better. And it starts with you. I understand that you want to fight back. You want justice. You want to do something. You want to stand up for what's wrong. I understand. And it feels awful to say all you can do is take care of yourself. But it's true. And again, I'm not like I said, if protesting was going to work, it would have already worked. And protesting has shown to cause excessive violence on top of that, right? Like, I understand there is peaceful protesting, but not with the way things are right now. First, you need to get your fucking energy centered and grounded, and your thoughts and your beliefs centered and grounded. All right, guys. That's the end of this video. If you are still here at the end of the video, thank you so much for watching this. I truly hope this makes you feel better about the entire situation. I hope that this gives you a new perspective and certain tools that you can go forward and feel better about, because like I said, you should not be scared. The people who've been doing evil shit for years should be terrified, and they should be scared of you, because again, this is part of you waking up, and that is so much more powerful than you probably understand right now. But I'm telling you, it is.